Season 3, Episode 3. And man, this is a huge episode, right?
This thing is like jam-packed with some amazing artists. We got lucky this time for sure.
We did. This episode is so crazy, I didn't even introduce myself. So here we are on the crazy episode. I'm Mick, and I'm here with my good buddy, my partner in crime,
Steve. Yeah, this is an awesome show. I can't wait to share this with people because it's killer. It's definitely killer. So people are gonna like this for sure.
Oh yeah. And it's so crazy and so special that I actually have permission to do something. Even this isn't even correct grammar, but we're gonna go there. Even more specialer.
Specialer.
But no. Maybe you've seen some of the teasers. If you follow Coffee and Hardcore, you might have seen some of the teasers, some of the stuff that Wiley and I are involved with. Wiley and I are in a band called Redline, and we've got a single coming out on April the 8th, a single and a video. But Marco, who's like the head in the whole thing, he's like the man. He's like the guy who is in charge of everything Redline. He's gonna hate it that I said that. But anyway, right. Marco's a good dude, and Marco was like, hey, if you want to, you can drop the single early.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
We have permission to drop the new Redline single, 11th Hour, and we're gonna do it right here at the beginning because this is a crazy episode and it's packed full of awesome stuff. So yeah, should we do it right now?
Hell yeah, definitely.
All right, here. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm stoked for this stuff to come out, and this song is definitely killer. And if you don't know, it's guys from Life Force and 2 Minute Minor and Iron Sharpens Iron, and of course I was in Zao. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's a super group because that gives me weird vibes when I say that, but it's all a bunch of cool dudes.
It's a bunch of cool dudes. Probably like one of the most anticipated releases that I got for this year because it's great. It's great stuff, and I'm excited for the rest of it and to see where you guys go with it for sure.
Yeah, I'm stoked, and this song's pretty cool. It's pretty special, and there's some things coming out with it on April 8th that you'll see, and hopefully we can get folks to participate with it as well. So it's going to be really cool. I don't want to give anything away, so right. Yeah, it's going to be a cool song. But here's the deal. That's just a snippet of what's happening tonight because
right,
we have the bass player for Be Well. We have Aaron with us. And not only was Aaron in Be Well, but he's also from Bane and another band that you might have heard of. What was that band?
Converge.
Yeah, you know that band.
Yeah. he had a little stint with they're still going Only Crime with a certain drummer who plays for the Descendants, right? Ray Wiley.
So yeah, it jam-packed, man, and he just an awesome conversation with him and what's going on with Be Well, and of course we talk bass tone because he's a bass player.
Tone. And coffee too because he's in the biz. So
yeah. So that's a great conversation. We review some coffee. We talk about the new single from Be Well, as well as a up and coming band from Milwaukee called Big Laugh. So we're going to be talking about them as well. And then as an extra special, just tasty morsel to add to this episode, we have Matt from Subsist. He's talking about them re-releasing their early 2000s album that never came out. That is a crazy killer metalcore album. They remixed it, remastered it, did all this stuff to it, and we got to hear it before it got out there. And
it's pretty killer stuff. It's like a great mix of hardcore and metalcore. Super cool.
So we've got that interview, and as an added bonus to that, Matt is also in a band with his good friend Adam, who is in a band called Bears His Teeth, which is another killer band. They got 2 singles out and they got more coming up, and so they talk about that for a little bit. So this is a jam-packed episode with a lot of great stuff.
Bunch of great artists, great people.
Yeah,
for sure.
So we are going to kick this episode off with the interview with Adam from Be Well. So we wanted to kick it off right. So here it is. Check it out. What a great episode. All right. It is so awesome at this moment to welcome someone that is a part of a band that Steven and I have talked a whole lot about. Wiley and I have talked a whole lot about. We played a ton, and we're super excited for this. But we have Aaron from Be Well with us, and a ton of other projects that we could talk about too. But we're super excited about the Be Well stuff that's coming out. But man, how's it going?
Good. Thanks so much for having me on. Thanks so much. It's going pretty good over here.
Awesome.
So
yeah, we're stoked to have you, man.
Yeah, I'm glad it all lined up.
So let's start with this, because when Wiley told me that this was possibly going to work out, I freaked out a little bit. And the reason why is because I love the Weight and the Cost LP so much. Like, it's what got me through the pandemic, so to speak, and really a lot of other hard stuff that was going on. So can we talk about that album for a second? Like,
Sure. Thank you, by the way. I mean,
no problem.
It's came on a really weird time, but I think it was good for a lot of people. I think it was like, I think a lot of stuff came out during the beginning of the pandemic, and it either just kind of lost its way, but somehow this kind of stuck,
Yeah. So how did Be Well even start? Like, how did this,
Right.
how did it even?
So I've known Brian McTurnan since 92 or 93. I can't remember exactly when I met him. It was when his old band Ashes played in Boston that I met him. But I've known him, like, once I met him, we became really good friends since. And he recorded the majority of the Bane stuff. He recorded a bunch of Converge stuff. I've known Mike for a fairly long time. I wouldn't say quite as long, but I've known Mike Schleibaum for a good 20 years at least. Wow. Actually, probably more than that. Thinking about how old we are, it's probably more than that. But probably met him in the mid to late 90s. And so what happened is I moved down to Maryland temporarily. My wife had a opportunity for an apprenticeship. So we moved down there, and it was a while after Bane had ended, and I was kind of going through a pretty rough time myself, actually, mentally. And somebody randomly had told Brian that I had moved down there, and he hit me up right before Battery was going to Europe. Was like, "Hey, I'm starting this new band. Let me send you the song, see if you like it." So, and at that point, it was only really just Brian and Mike. They had recorded some stuff with some other people just like playing, but it was just Brian and Mike at the time, and they had asked me to play. And then before I responded, they were in Europe. They had reached out to Peter, who was in Fairweather, and they had asked him if he'd want to play, and he said, "Yeah, I'll play guitar." And then when they came back from Europe, they were like, "Hey, do you want to play bass?" And I was like, "Sure." I haven't played bass since the first Bane demo, but sure. But actually now I'm really like playing bass. I miss the guitar a lot, but I like playing bass. It's fun. It's fun. And then after Peter and I joined, Shane, the drummer from Fairweather, came up, and it was like an instant fit. It was like perfect. Wow. So yeah.
A lot of big names coming out there. I mean, you got bands like Converge, Bane. What's the other one's Only Crime? Which I gotta ask, because if I don't, someone's gonna be really mad at me. What is it like working with Bill Stevenson?
It's very surreal. So quick story about that, if you want.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Bane
we'll come back. We'll come back around.
Bane went to did a tour with Good Riddance and Strike Anywhere, and Russ, the singer from Good Riddance, and I became really good friends over coffee, really. So we became really good friends, and back then there were so many bands doing different bands with people, and he was just like, "Oh, we should do something sometime." I was like, "Cool." I love Good Riddance. I was like, "Yeah, cool. If something happens, whatever." And then we started looking for people, and then it was like, early 2000s. It was like 2003, so like cell phones were around, but they weren't like the thing that you had now. And he had called me and left me a message. He's like, "Hey, Bill wants to play drums." And I didn't click who it was. So like the next day, I was like, "Shit, he means Bill Stevenson." Like the reason I got into all these bands, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's very surreal. But at the same time, like, I mean, it's really weird to say, but like Bill is like one of my best friends now, which is really weird.
Right. That's
like,
awesome.
I mean, like, him and his family had me live, like, I lived out in Santa Fe for a while, and I get divorced, and then like I lived with Bill and his family for a while, and like the foot of my bed was like his Black Flag drums, and I was like, "This is fucking weird."
Right.
Yeah, but he's the best dude. He's like the most down to earth but amazing person, So
that's awesome. And for all the young kids that listen to this, if you don't know who Bill Stevenson is, he plays in a band called The Descendants. I highly recommend you listen to their stuff. Yes. And now we can get back to Be Well now.
Okay. So yeah, we just got everybody together for Be Well, and it was like all those, and it just kind of like came together really organically, And the first record, most of that Brian had already written the majority of that before he had been writing. I can't even count the amount, like the different versions of those songs that I heard throughout like a year. Like he would just record. So it was like, but yeah, it's awesome. I think it was something we all needed at that time, for sure. But yeah, we all love it.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask, because that album touches a lot on like working through some really tough shit.
Yeah.
Working, a lot, there's a lot of like positive mental health aspects to like, find help or work through stuff and all that stuff. Is that something that Brian brought to the table, or like was that all of you together? Or
no, he brought that all to the table, really. Like Brian has struggled with his mental health for a long time, and it like, being older, like I'm sure you guys know. I mean, I don't know how old you guys are, but I mean, like
old.
Back when we were back when we were young, like it still is kind of a stigma, and that's why we have so many problems in this country, like people literally losing their mind and like going on a rampage, or like, just running themselves into the ground because they have something wrong, and they can't figure out why, and I think the cool thing about the lyrics, I don't know if I say the cool thing about it, but like all the things Brian talks about, and I think that's why I connected so much, is like you may not connect with it in the specific way that he's saying,
right,
but almost everybody connects with it in some way,
right?
Like he'll sing about his daughter, but it may not be actually like your daughter or your son to you. It could be something else, some sort of other relationship,
Yeah, I know when I sent that record to Wiley to check out, I told him, I was like, you don't understand how much this speaks to like right now. I'm like, you're gonna find something in this that hits you pretty hard. And honestly, I don't know how many people I've talked to when I bring up this album. They're like, oh man, that helped me so much through this or so much through that.
Right.
And it's so cool that for a record to kind of have that weight to it. It was just awesome. And what's funny for me is like when I was a teenager, like listening to Battery, and that had a huge influence on me in Zao and the early beginnings of that and bass and all that. And then, then playing with Ashes later on in life.
Yeah.
And then, and now here we are with Be Well. And I'm like, holy crap. Like what? Just the circles come back around again. It's crazy.
Like, I think being in a band that's like that once is extremely lucky, but like being in like a band with like Bane, like all of Aaron's lyrics were very like personal and influential, and like had a positive impact on people, and now with like Be Well, it's just like it's I'm pretty lucky, like
you've been a part of some awesome some music and created some crazy stuff that's going to last for a long time. It's pretty cool. Like the Treadless single that you guys just dropped, it like just picked right up from where you guys left off. So I find it really interesting that you said that the Brian had written most of the stuff, but when you on this next one that's coming up, the Hello Sun Wake Me Up, is that something that you guys all did, or did Brian kind of work on that?
Yeah, we all kind of worked on it too, and it was like
nice.
He always has stuff that's like he's a machine, like he just always has stuff coming up, so it's awesome. You know what I mean? It's like right now there's not really like a lack of, like, oh shit, we gotta write some songs,
Right.
So
right.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
I can't wait till that drops, because you guys again teasing us with that single. It sounds like it's gonna be another killer.
We're really
EP,
excited. So. Yeah, we're very excited. I hope people enjoy it. So people that have heard it, we've gotten really good responses from the people that have heard so far. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So what can we expect from this new album coming out? Like how many songs we looking at?
It's an EP. It's only 6 songs.
Okay.
It's a one-sided 12-inch.
Awesome.
It's kind of cool. It's a one-sided 12-inch with a silk on the vinyl. It's like silk screened on one side, and all the songs are on the other side. But it's kind of like you said, it kind of picks up where Wait and the Cost ended. Like it's very it's very mixed. Like it's not all fast hardcore songs. It's not all like rock kind of songs. It's like everything. It's kind of a mix of everything, and everything kind of just flows together, I think. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
So we're all really, really proud of it. Like I think I don't remember who Brian said it was that said this, but like it was sent to a magazine and they called Brian. They were like, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but you know, I really liked Weight and the Cost, but I honestly thought it was like a fluke or like just like a flash in the pan. But they heard the new record and they were like, it's definitely not. So I mean, I'm hoping people really like it. So yeah,
it's pretty cool. And I know I got a couple of vinyls. So
yeah.
I think we all jumped on that pretty fast.
Yeah, the last one, it was kind of a mistake. I don't want to say it was a mistake. There's so many different colors because people like they did a couple pressings at a time, and then it just like it sold so quickly that we were just like, just sell them. Like we'd rather have kids have them. So that's why the last one had so many different colors, because it was like supposed to be like spaced out for like different pressings. Right. But then it was just like it went quick, so we're like, you know what, let's just get it out there. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk, because I'm a bass player and the tone on that album was so great. Like, let's talk rig for a second. Like, what are you using?
So I use the Micro Terror, the orange Micro Terror, Mini Terror, Micro Terror.
Yeah.
And that's it. And really? That and a P bass.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It now works.
I use, well, now I actually I wasn't a bass player. So I was like, all right, that's what, like, to me, honestly, I was like, I love James, who played in Bane towards the end. That's what he had for an amp.
Yeah.
So I was like, this sounds great. I'm gonna get that. And my theory with guitar too was always like, you should be able to just plug into your amp and have it sound awesome. You shouldn't need all this stuff. I mean, I understand, like, you know, like Peter and Mike use like delay pedals and all that stuff. That's different, right. But like just for your tone, you should be able to plug in and have your awesome tone. But since then, I actually got, for playing wise, I just got a jazz bass, and it has active pickups, and it sounds so much better. It sounds like meaner without sounding like over the top. So, right. Yeah, I'm stoked for that.
Yeah, cool. That's what I snagged a jazz bass not too long ago with actives, and I just totally love it.
It's 9 day. Like I had my Strat broke on that last run, like mid song, and then like I went to grab my P bass and I plugged it in. I was like, oh, this does not sound as good. Like, and like it was very apparent.
And dude, you're lucky you have one of those orange Micro Terrors, because dude, you can't even get those right now. Really? Like, I work at a music store, and the orange stuff is like you can't. Yeah. Because of everything going on, we can't get them in stock. Yeah. Haven't had them in stock for 3 years. Damn. That's how bad it is. Yeah.
Damn. That's
so
crazy.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
So we've heard a rumor that you are also a coffee roaster.
I am. Can
we talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah. Essex Coffee Roasters. It's my passion. I started it, well, I was home roasting for a while in like end of 2016, 2017. I started home roasting a whole bunch, because I mean, the shorter story is, whenever I was on the road, I always just like look for coffee. Like I've always loved coffee. And I mean, what else are you gonna do in the middle of friggin' wherever, in the middle of nowhere, you know? So I've always done it, and I started home roasting, and then actually Paul from Between the Buried and Me, that owns is it Queen City Road? Oh, Night Flyer. I forget. I feel like a total asshole now because I forget the name of the place. But I'm really good friends with his wife, so we talked a bunch, and then he got in touch with me, and like he really helped me a lot, and I started doing more and more, and I was really good friends with this coffee shop in Salem. They had been around for like 20 years, and they were like, "Oh, bring some beans in," and I will try to we'll use it for a medium roast or whatever. So I started doing that, and then they loved it so much that they kept pushing me to do it like not full time. I mean, I have a real full-time job, but to do it more. And essentially they were like, if you can do it, then we'll start using you for everything. So they kind of like really pushed me to do it, which is awesome. And
Nice.
so that it really started in like the middle of 2018 is when I really started to like try to push it. So
now, is this something that folks can order online or?
Yeah. If you just go to EssexCoffeeRoasters.com.
Awesome.
I roast. My kind of whole spiel is like, I only use specialty grade coffee, but I don't want to be some snooty coffee shop. Or like, I don't have a shop right now, but like,
Right.
I just like, I want to be able to like get great coffee to whoever wants it and have them feel good about it, not have them feel like they should know more or something, you know?
Right.
But like I roast everything to order. I roast every other week. So I just like roast a little bit more than what I need. And then like, so I have a little bit of like spillover to the next one. But like if you order online, it takes like a week to 10 days just because like I may not have it roasted, and then I'll roast it in my next batch, which is pretty awesome.
Super fresh.
So, yeah. Like anything over like 2 to 3 weeks for me, I'm like, I can't use it. Like, which is totally awful because it's like in sealed bags and everything, and it's fresher than you'd get at any store, really. So,
right.
But you know, I'm kind of snooty about it to myself about that because it's not. To me, I'm like, it's not fresh enough.
It's tough trying others than you order stuff online. By the time it gets to you, like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll definitely have to try some of that stuff. Sure. What do you usually use? Like, do you have like a signature roast, or is it you kind of mix it up here and there?
Yeah, I do mostly single origins. So I try to rotate it a bunch, but things have been so crazy with pandemic and importing and all that stuff. It's been a little bit weird.
I heard beans were tough to get.
Yeah. Like the 3 importers I use have been pretty good, which is nice. But I usually have like 4 or 5 single origins, like always a Brazil, a Guatemalan, Mexico, usually an Ethiopian. But then I have 2 blends that I always offer, just an espresso blend and a breakfast blend.
That's cool.
So, yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
So B-Well's got a string of shows coming up with Hot Water Music and Strike Anywhere, right?
Yep, starting Wednesday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. How is that? That's going for a couple months or just a month?
No. It's only 5 shows.
5 shows.
The way Hot Water does things now, which is kind of cool actually when you're old, is they only do weekends.
Nice.
Right.
It's the best. It's the only thing that sucks is like 3 weeks ago. I don't remember. We played with them in a Vail. We did North Carolina, Atlanta, and Florida. We played St. Pete, but driving back from St. Pete sucked. Like we drove like 3 hours Sunday night, and they woke up Monday morning at like 7 a.m. and just drove, and it was just I don't miss that.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
But you guys get. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, you guys got something coming up this summer too, right?
Yeah, we're doing. It's actually I think it's 5 weeks total with Newfound Glory and 4 Years Strong, but
Nice.
It's cool because it's split up. So it's like the end of May into the beginning of June. It's 2.5 weeks. Then we have like almost all of June and almost all of July off, and then it's 2.5 weeks again, which is great. So it's nice splitting it up like that, you know. But then that one ends in Austin, Texas, when we get to drive back from Austin. So
yeah.
The first half is all East Coast, which is great, and then the second one is like it ends in Austin. I'm like, oh, that's not gonna be fun.
No, I do not miss that run from Texas back to the East Coast. Not at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And so you all played Furnace Fest last year. Is there a plan to play Furnace Fest again this year? Or
we really wanted to, but they don't want to bring a lot of bands back year after year, which stinks because the original one was the year the record came out.
Right.
So it would have been awesome, but then it get pushed, obviously. So now it stinks because the record's going to be out and we're not going to be able to play till the following year again, which stinks. But
yeah,
we'll see. Maybe they'll change their mind. But we're doing. We're all dads and right now full-time jobs also, so it's kind of tough. But we also are going to Europe in October, so that's going to eat up a lot of time, and that's like pretty much the beginning of October.
Wow.
So if Furnace Fest is the end of September again, it might be a little hard to pull off.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I think it's pretty tough these days too, because you with the COVID factor and everything that's going on in the world, you get out there and then things can change real quick.
Yeah,
and especially when you have a family at home, it's tough to commit to like a full tour across the country.
Yeah, it's hard, man.
I don't know. I see kids online in the young bands and stuff, and I don't know how they do it. Like, I give them props for sure for getting out there and stuff. But yeah, it's the world's a little different.
It's a different place right now. Yeah, it's weird too. Like those shows, even those shows we played a couple weeks ago with Hot Water and Avail, like they were big venues, and like we really weren't close to kids. But it was still like having like PTSD, being like, oh, I can't go anywhere,
Right.
It's weird. And it's weird because like, well, this past summer when we had that show in Massachusetts for Stu, the old bass player from Bane, it was like right before Delta hit. And it was like the perfect timing. Like I'm so thankful for that. But it was like, we went to show, it was at the House of Blues. Like Massachusetts was like 30 cases a day, if that. So like, you're at the House of Blues, like nobody had a mask on. It was like this perfect little lull, but then all of a sudden it was just like, nope, can't have fun.
Is there anything in the works for Only Crime, or is that kind of like
we talk about it? No, it's definitely not a done deal. We talk about it all the time, but now that before COVID,
right?
Before it was always I was busy with Bane and everybody else didn't have anything to do. And then once Bane ended, now everybody else is super busy.
Right.
And I didn't have anything to do. So
of course.
But we talk all the time about getting together, like every few months. I mean, I could look at the text thread, and it's every few months, like clockwork. So we'd be like, all right, let's get together and write. And then something happens. And now obviously with COVID, it's even harder.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were talking about writing with all of the original members also, plus Matt. So we'll see. So there'd be like 3 guitar players.
Nice.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. It'll happen someday.
Who is in Guar? Because I had my notes and I saw Guar kept coming up.
Zach Blair.
Okay.
The guy that's now in Rise Against was in Guar for a while. Yeah.
All right. I got you. It's one of those bands you'll never forget.
I don't remember the name, but I think I can't remember which one he was actually. I can't remember which one in Guar he was. I don't know if I'm supposed to say either, but I remember which one he was.
Right.
They'll come after me.
One of those shows that you'll never forget. They're fun. They're definitely different, but fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, Stephen, before I ask the fun question, did you have any more serious questions before we drop the fun one?
I want to say thank you personally, because the bands that you've been in helped write the music and stuff. It's just you should be very proud of your career, man. It's some amazing work. So like Converge and Bane and now Be Well, like those are like a top 3 for me. So I'm super stoked to talk to you, and I can't wait to see what's next, because I think this is just Be Well starting. Like I feel like they're gonna be around for a long time.
I hope so. Yeah. Thank you very much. Like I definitely don't want to sometimes it's hard to let people know, but like we've said it in Bane all the years, but like we thank people as much as they thank us, because it's like honestly, like we wouldn't have done what we did for as long as we did it if it wasn't for everybody. Like we always did it for ourselves because we wanted to play, and we always wrote the music we wanted to write, but like the people are what really drove us to like keep doing it.
It's cool stuff.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, so here's the fun question. there's no shame, but what is your guilty pleasure TV show or band? Like something, if someone knew that this is what you watched or you listened to, and I'm going to go ahead and throw this out here. It's that way you'll know this is a safe space. So many people have said The Bachelor, so know that you're safe.
I'm going to be completely honest and saying, for TV show, I can't really think of one except for like, all right, I'll name two for a TV show. They're not around anymore.
All right,
but Nip Tuck, and True Blood.
Yeah, True Blood's good.
for a music, I mean, for a musician, I guess it's not as bad, but System of a Down.
Nice.
I'm not a fan of new metal whatsoever, but there's something about that it just, I don't know. Yeah.
I know you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
But Nip Tuck was like a religious thing. I'd watch it every week.
That's hilarious. I think my wife was into that a whole lot too.
Yeah, I get real weird real quick though.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
So we always, like, everything that any of our guests are into, like their bands and other stuff they're into, we always promote it on the on the episode and give links and everything. So we'll definitely push your coffee, we'll push the bands and all that. But is there anything else that you can think of that you just want to promote, some other bands that you think people should check out, or anything? Like,
I mean, just once COVID, I mean, honestly, like, I don't want to say any specific bands really, but like once people feel safe going out, like, go to shows as much as you can, like, not even for the bands, but for the venues. Like,
right,
if the half the venues are around when this is all said and done, we'll be lucky. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
unfortunately, like all those like PPP loans and all that stuff, like, it didn't help the small people, because like musicians don't make money on the books 90% of the time, so it's like no bands could do anything. They're losing money. So many venues closed or came close to closing, and now they're gonna have a hard time getting people to go because people are so scared they're gonna get sick and die. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
So I mean, if anything, I would just say, as much as you can, help bands out with buying shirts, anything. And when you feel safe going to shows, like, don't complain when the shows are like 20-25 bucks, because you know what, 20 years ago shows were $10. So
right.
With everything going on, like, you have to help the bands, like, it's
Definitely.
yeah or artists in general. Like, I hope if anything comes out of all this, that people realize that art in general, like, not the musicians, artists, anything, like, you don't realize that what you get out of that till it's not there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that when you can't go to a museum, or you can't, like, do anything, like, you don't realize that what it does for you in your mental well-being till after it's not there.
A lot of people, like, talking to people that they're like a lead singer of a band, and they're used to touring across the country. The next thing you know, they're dead stop in their tracks, and they can't leave their house. I think a lot of band members saw that, and now coming back to the concerts, they're like, wow, like, this is something that we need to cherish. So I feel like it, both sides, like the fans and the musicians, they've kind of come together and be like, let's do this even better now.
Like, I definitely didn't realize till, I mean, it was like a combination of like COVID and stuff, but like, I didn't realize. Sorry, my kid has guinea pigs as things are screaming in the background if you can't hear them. But I didn't realize, like what I said earlier, when like Brian had asked me to be well, like, I was not in a great spot, but I didn't realize, as weird as it sounds, but what I was getting out playing. Like, I've been touring since I graduated high school.
Right.
Like, I started touring in 1992 and I stopped in 2016.
Wow.
Like, I didn't know what I was getting out. And then when Bane stopped a few years late after that, it just like really all hit me that, like, oh shit. Like, and then COVID happened, and then our best friend gets sick. And then it was just like, oh, you just realize you just take a lot of things for granted, and that's one thing that I hope everybody learns, is to not take that for granted, because it is very fragile and it can go away in a minute,
Yeah.
So
it's true.
Yeah. Well, man, hey, thank you so much for hanging out with us, coming on the show.
Thank you,
dude. Hey, can't wait to hear the rest of the album. So
yeah, I'm excited for everybody to hear it. There's a little clip. I think we all posted it, but I think it's only like 10 seconds long, but there's another clip of another song that just came out too.
Nice.
For the shows coming up. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome, man. And I think there's still pre-orders up on Rev for that and Hits.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, man. All right.
Awesome.
No problem.
All right.
Now, before we do this, let's go over the ground rules. Rule number 1, no touching of the hair or face. Of course. And that's it.
All right, everybody, here we go. We're going to get into the album reviews. So the first one up we got here is Big Laugh. Definitely nothing to laugh about. These guys are serious. Some great Milwaukee hardcore punk. I heard this from Wiley, and I was like, this is good. I got into it, dude. It got better and better as I listened to it. Definitely some of my favorite songs were the Imposter and No Embrace. You can hear in the jams the influence of the Boston hardcore scene. Some bands like SSD. It even has some like Power Violence influence from Infest. It's in there. These guys, right now, you could put them in Boston and they would fit in perfect with what's going on over here. Like seriously, like they have that sound. And I think this is just the beginning, because when it was released in May of 2020.
Yeah.
So it's not just released. So I'm hoping we get some more coming.
Right.
These guys, I love it. I love the sound. Definitely that first song on the EP, the Imposter song is my favorite. And again, I think they definitely would fit right in over here in Boston for sure. But what'd you think about it?
What, you want to drop Imposter first and then come back?
Yeah, let's throw it down.
All right, here it comes. Here's Imposter. So here's my thoughts. And Wiley sent this to us, and I didn't get a chance to listen to it right off the bat. So I was at work, and so I just was like, oh, hey, I'm going to do some research on the band because I know we're going to talk about the album. So I did some research, and I read all this stuff, like from a couple different interviews. And so I had this expectation, and that's the worst thing to do before you listen to a band, because I was expecting one thing and I got a different thing. And normally I do the opposite. Normally I listen and then read up. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I see that. So I expected something different. And so when I finally listened to it, I was kind of sad because I was like, this isn't what I expected. So I took a day off and I came back. And when I came back, I listened to it again. I was like, okay, there it is. I get it. And then I started to hear the Boston influence. And the thing that threw me off is because one interviewer said, there's nothing like this out there. It's just so fresh and so new, which it is. But to me, I was like, there's so many other bands that kind of fit in this. Like there's a newer hardcore that's kind of out right now. And these guys, I'm not saying that they're like way back in the background. No, I think these guys could be way out front. Because it kind of has that dry socket feel to me a little bit. And so, you know, like kind of like that. And it's just, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way or a bad way. I mean this in a good way. It's snotty. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like snotty, it's like something that happens that totally grabs your attention. You're like, and that's how it is. And then on top of that, you add the crazy, nasty bass tone. On this album, and you're like, holy cow. And the singer just doesn't, he's just constant, he's almost like he's got, it's this, I just get this picture of this snot-nosed kid in my face, like constantly getting my attention. And that's what this band is. It's like just this nasty, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just this nasty hardcore that just constantly attack you.
It's a great blend of hardcore and punk. They take like the two aspects and smash it together, and the songs are super quick. So I'm like, oh, that's great. I want more. Like I need more. Like, you know, they got me there. I'm ready now. Let's get like a full length going. Cause you know, and like you said, they're ahead of it because they dropped this in 2020. Right now, this is the sound right now. Like 2022, this is what's coming out. So they're way ahead of it. And I think I didn't do a ton of research on their age, but I think there's some young kids. So I think they're going to be around for a while. Right. And I'm stoked. I think they could, you know, get a lot more attention with a full length. So no pressure.
and I think we just need to go ahead and drop No Embrace as well. Yeah. Cause that's another good song. So we're going to drop it right here. Awesome. So since we had B-Well on, I thought we would just throw in their new single that came out called Threadless, which is so good. And I'm excited that you know, just hearing this makes me know that this new EP that's getting ready to come out is going to be awesome. And I can't wait to hear it. And I know Wiley was like, it's like, I'm so happy. Like that new single shows me that, you know, there's going to have more of a hardcore vibe. And cause that was the thing that threw him off so much with that last LP. It took him a while. And I said, you just keep listening and see what happens. And he finally was like, oh yeah. That album. Yeah. So, yeah. So
I think that Adams, he mentioned that it's got a little bit of everything though.
Yeah, he did.
So, you know, it's definitely got a little bit of everything. And right now they're going down the East Coast playing their new songs. So, you know, I've been watching them and every show's been sold out, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm excited. Hello Sun, Wake Me Up. It definitely, I'm ready for it. And I'm ready for my variant of vinyls to show up as well.
Right.
Because I jumped on that bandwagon.
Yeah, you got more than one variant, didn't you?
I got two.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, this song is this killer. Like, absolutely love it. The lyrical content again, it's just it's almost like you could take the lyrics from the last album and even this song and just have it just like I feel like we need to sit down at a table and have a conversation. Like,
right.
It opens up so much. But yeah, we just got to play this song. I think why not?
You get throw it down for him for sure.
All right. So yeah, killer song.
So good.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the rest of it.
Me too. So yeah. So later on the show, we're going to have Matt from Subsist, and we're going to throw a couple tracks from their album that's coming out, which you can, if I'm not mistaken, I think their pre-buy they got going on, some of the vinyl are running out. Like,
yeah. He said
it's
that
selling quick.
A couple colors I think are gone, and he had only a couple variants left. So they did a great job moving those. It's cool artwork too. That artwork is
really cool artwork.
Pretty sick. So it's good stuff. And
it's definitely brutal. The whole album is brutal. We had an opportunity to check it all out, but we're gonna drop Phil 499. I hope I'm saying it right. It's either Phil 499 or Phil 499. But still, it's a killer song.
Yeah, it is. And
it's you have to remember, like, this is from early 2000s. So if you it's ahead of the game for that time.
If you didn't just say that, they wouldn't even know. Like,
I know.
Legit, this album could be released today and you wouldn't even know it was from back then.
Yeah.
It's that good. Yeah.
Yeah, killer stuff. So we're gonna drop that song. You ready?
Drop it.
Check out this track. All right, I told you.
Right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, so, and I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Adam and Matt's newer band called Bears' Teeth. They got 2 killer singles out right now. We'll put those in. We always do like a coffee and hardcore set list. It's on Spotify. You can check out all the bands that we talk about, even bands that we mention in passing. I normally throw a track on there. It doesn't matter who it is. If we talk about David Bowie, I'm going to throw a David Bowie track on there. But we'll throw the 2 singles from Bears' Teeth on there as well, so you guys can check them out because they're amazing, and I can't wait for their new stuff that's getting ready to come out. And hopefully, when it drops, we'll maybe get Adam to come back on again, or just review the album because I know it's going to be awesome. So, yeah, killer stuff this week or this episode.
So much talent. It's like a ton of talent.
Right.
It's crazy.
All right, here we are. It's episode 3, and we have double trouble tonight. We're actually talking to 2 different bands, which is really awesome. We've got Matt from Subsist, and Matt is also in this other awesome band called Bears' Teeth, and we've got Adam with us as well. So Adam and Matt, welcome. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks so much, guys.
So we've got some cool stuff in this episode because we're bringing on some old school, right? Matt, we're talking about your release that's getting ready to come out, The Rhythm Method by Subsist, and this has been a process for a while, right? Like tell us a little bit about this whole thing coming out.
Yeah. So The Rhythm Method is an album that we recorded back in the year 2000. So 22 years in the making. We recorded it kind of as the band was breaking up. We wanted to document the songs that we had. We had no label or no backing to do much with it. So we just burned some CDs and had it out our last show. We had the sound guy do a quick mix, which, that's
right.
Not the ideal. It wasn't what we wanted. And so it's just something that from time to time, one of the members of the band would like message each other and be like, man, I just listened to that today. I think it still holds up. It's pretty good. And then it would kind of die off and then someone else would bring it up. But then there was a book that came out in 2020 called Punks in Peoria. And that kind of ignited a little spark where, the band was asked to play a reunion show. We got to thinking like, well, if we're going to play, like maybe someone would buy this if we had it available. So we kind of tried to rush it out for that. And really that's where it started happening. We had a friend of a friend recommended a guy named Jason Bittner that does audio restoration. So we sent him the ADAT tapes, hoping that they were still good after 22 years. He extracted the audio, made it to digital, sent it to our good friend Derek Blackburn at Quiet House Recording, and he did all the magic. Like he made that stuff sound like it was recorded today, and we were just super happy with that.
Man, that's killer. And like it holds up too, man. It brings back so many like crazy memories from that time frame. And I'm gonna drop something on you because you guys actually did a song for Radio Waves and Gibberish, the compilation for Steadfast, which kind of ties into this release too, and we'll get into that in a second. But that song, was it Restraint? Yeah, Restraint. Like I was doing like 2 hours, 3 hours of radio every week back then, and we got that compilation and that song, like I'm in West Virginia, so we covered like Parkersburg, West Virginia, all the way down to like below Huntington, West Virginia, and up into Kentucky and Ohio. And we played that song so much, like kids would request it all the time. And then all these years later, I'm like, I've heard this. I'm like, And then I put two and two together because, you know, I think around the time the Bears His Teeth stuff, when you guys were starting to talk about that, I was like, wait a second. I start putting two together, and then you brought up the Subsist stuff, and I'm like, we used to play that all the time. And now here we are, and we're like, what? So yeah, that's so crazy. And it brings back so many crazy memories from that time frame. But like, that guy did such an awesome job mixing and mastering. Like, it
Right.
does, it like just brings it so much up front in your face. It's killer. I love it. Like,
it fits today's like stuff perfect too. Like, I mean, I unless I look at the pictures on your Facebook, I can see it's from back then, but it definitely fits today's mold, and it's killer stuff. Like, he did a great job, you know, bringing it back to life. So I don't know how you sit on something like that for 20 years, but you guys did it.
So
yeah.
So how did you hook up with? So how did the whole working with Steadfast and dropping bombs?
Yeah.
How did that all happen?
Yeah. So Eric Scobie runs Dropping Bombs, and he was the person that was part of a label called Akeldama Records. So they did the first Subsist EP, and they also did a few other releases. Like the Pensive Seasons in the Field split is probably one that they're pretty well known for too. And so, you know, Eric, we've always been in touch with Eric. He's always been a friend and a fan, like just like kind of the family member for us. So he was someone that we reached out to, and he was just like, man, like, I love you guys. He wanted to do it. He just wasn't sure, like, you know how it is. But I think once he heard the remix, I think he was on board. And you know, Matt Traxler just made sense to reach out to, since we had that connection with the song Restraint. And once he heard the remix, he was like 100% on board and super into it. He's been really, really supportive and awesome. And I just talked to him right before this. So he says hi to you and Adam Baker. Yeah. He said, you're both great guys. So
no.
I can hear him using that, saying that in his voice too.
I know. It's just like, Matt has dropped so much stuff with Steadfast this last few years. Like, they did the re-release, the Branston re-release, and you know, we worked on those crazy, you know, like you said, you had DAT tapes that were hidden somewhere. I had DAT tapes in a cigar box and found them and was like, what should we do with these? And Jeff Gretz was the one who's like, you should send them to Matt and see if he'd release it. And Matt did it. And so, you know, the Branston stuff, the old Zao stuff, and now this Subsist. And I think he even brought back Focus, an old Focused album. So he's been dropping crazy new stuff and then bringing back all this old school stuff. And it's been so good. So yeah, man, that's awesome. I love it. So are you guys playing shows? You got any more coming up? I know you've done a couple reunion.
Yeah, we did the one reunion show. We'd like to. It's just like two of the guys are in a band called Minsk on Relapse Records. And they're kind of gearing things up with the new album, I think. And then Chris is in a band called Lark's Tongue. They just put out something on Consoling Records. And so, you know, they're all busy. Our singer lives in California. We'd like to this summer, like COVID willing,
right?
Get together and do, you know, at least one or two shows.
Well, I think it's funny you talk about the shows, right? So I got to say, I was on your Facebook and I'm looking at old pictures of old shows, and I was like, you know, that kind of looks like the show I went to this weekend. Like, it kind of came back around. Like, everybody's dressed the same. They got the same clothes, except for the no Jankos. But you know, there's a lot of stuff there that is very similar. It was kind of mind blowing. It's definitely done like a full circle.
Yeah, that's kind of, you know, perfect timing, really, because there's a little bit of a metalcore resurgence. So, you know, it is good timing, and things are coming around. So there's a lot of nostalgia for sure.
It's cool.
So I know you guys got pre-buys coming up. When does that drop?
Yeah, the pre-orders start March 11th, so tomorrow.
Nice.
Though it won't be, I'm sure this will come out after the fact. And then the release date is May 6th. So we're
nice.
It's coming up. We're super excited. It's almost a year that we kind of started this process. So it'll just be nice to get that out. It's a lot of work.
So have you guys leaked the artwork yet? Because I know what you sent me was like super awesome. I didn't get to throw that at Steven yet, so he doesn't know what I'm talking about. But dude, it's killer looking. It's creepy. And it definitely has that metalcore vibe. Like, is that just some artwork that you guys, somebody that you've been working with, or?
Yeah, that was done by a long time friend of the band, Jeremiah Lambert. He does a lot of illustration work. He goes to Comic Cons all the time, and he sells stuff online. So he's a great friend, and like he was like the perfect partner to do this. So that's all original art in there.
Wow, man, and it hasn't been leaked yet. We've got some snippets and some clips and stuff, but tomorrow on March 11th is when we'll unleash it.
Nice.
Awesome. All right, so we're gonna kind of like bridge this double trouble episode, and we're gonna bring somebody else in here. We're gonna talk with Adam and Matt about their other band called Bears His Teeth, and which is weird because this is honestly, it's so weird talking to both of you, because it's like one of those things where you were so close to like running into each other and you never did. Like, I'm sure like it's one of those things where like you were in a city and then 3 weeks later I was in a city or something like that. It's just so crazy. And now here we are all these years later and we're having this conversation and we're talking about music that all of us were involved in back then and now. And here we get to come and we get to talk about this. So it's so awesome to have you guys on.
Happy. Makes me happy.
But you guys wrote like you guys did 2 killer singles in the middle of a crazy pandemic when it was at its height. I want to know how the heck you pulled it off, number one. And number 2, they're killer. They're just killer songs. And I'm so glad I got to check them out. But yeah, how did this band come together? Because you guys are kind of like a super group, if I'm allowed to use that phrase. But you kind of are, and you dropped these 2 singles. Like, how did all this come about?
So we, as many people were doing when pandemic time hit and everybody's kind of stuck at home, just kind of itching for things to do and talking online. And of course, there's just a group of us that we're friends with, and we all listen to similar music. And somebody had said, I don't remember who it was, Matt, but somebody said, like, do you guys want to try making some music? Like maybe a song or two? And who's going to play what? I'll do this. I'll do that. Okay. And well, who's going to sing? Oh, I could sing. Okay, we'll try that. And they literally just, we decided we were going to sound like Fiddlehead, which if you listen to both of those songs, we don't sound like Fiddlehead. We don't sound anything like Fiddlehead. Largely because I quickly realized that I can't sing like the dude from Fiddlehead. I can only do me. So, so we tried. We do have a as close to Fiddlehead-esque song as you're never gonna hear. And then they just started writing some music and kind of sending parts back and forth, and we were putting those pieces together and sent something my way, and I laid down some vocals in a small closet in a house that my church owned. Like just yeah, literally just kind of using GarageBand. Like, guys, is this the button I push to record this? Like I had no idea. So I'm glad they turned out as well as they did, because it was a hot mess bringing them together.
And Matt, what do you do in Bears' Teeth?
I play guitar in Bears' Teeth.
Awesome.
So in Subsist, I played bass. After Subsist, I joined a band called Dead to Fall and played guitar in that band for a little while. So I've got a little bit of guitar playing experience, but I really took a 20-year break from music. And just being in that chat group with Adam and all these guys, like just the nostalgia just got to me eventually, and I was just like, let's try something.
Awesome. The guitar tone's killer on the album or on the 2 songs, but let me tell you something. The bass tone, because I'm a bass player, so I'm going to bring it out. The bass tone is so thick and huge and awesome. It's I love everything about it, but that's probably my favorite thing. And I know I'm being biased because I'm a bass player, but seriously, it is so thick and so good. I love it so much. It's like, it's just massive, and it just it fills the room when you listen to it. I love it. So,
buddy Daniel Johnson plays bass on that.
dang,
and you should check out his other band, the Bell and the Hammer, because it sounds nothing like us. Yeah, but Daniel, I'm doing my due diligence, man. I'm mentioning the other band there. But yeah, he just brought some serious thunder with that bass guitar. Like when we all heard it the first time, it was like, yes. So good.
So good. So what's the future? What do you got? This is where I hope I don't get disappointed. Like, what is the future? Like, is there a full length coming, an EP at least? Like, what's happening?
So I'm going to be really annoying as I approach the actual answer to what your question is. But part of doing this is that it's pretty much a bunch of dads doing life in their houses or doing full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And when it's not the primary focus, it can be something that kind of stretches for a while, and it's stretched for a while. And so it's turned into a collaborative process, and we are bringing in all kinds of different musicians and old friends. So we have special guests on this thing that will make you super happy.
Nice.
And yes, we do have about 12 songs in all that we are working to finish. And it's working to finish. That's where we are. We're striving to make it happen. So yeah, I feel pretty confident about it, but it's been a journey, and I'm excited for everybody to hear the other ones too.
Awesome. All right, I can take that because Wiley asked me. It's been a year ago to help out. It's actually been about a year to help him work on a project they're doing called Redline, and it has been a year, and I just finally laid down the last 2 bass tracks for the 3-song demo. So that's taken a year. So it's been a work in progress. So I totally understand the being a dad and working full time. I totally get that. So yeah,
it's such a different vibe than when you were young and like just you and the guys in the basement,
right.
But just things just life and things just drag. So it'll be I'm so excited to get it out. I'm super happy with the 12 songs we have, so it's gonna be great.
Awesome. I actually think it works better when you can do it like this, because you actually get to take time and listen, and then like maybe record something and you're like, no, like that would have been fine like 20 years ago, but I want to do something like this. And so you actually get to hone it a little bit more, I think, than before, when you have like you've got 3 days in the studio and that's it. You don't have any more time. That's all you got.
Yeah, we kind of, that's been a little too much freedom sometimes, where we had, I think, one song with like 30 some guitar layers. So our other guitarist, his name is Nat. He plays in a band called Spaceships. And so there's another band to check out too. But we sent them, our drummer at the time was mixing for us, and we sent him the tracks, and I think it just like blew his mind that we had like 30 different guitar.
It was insane.
So
yeah. What's been really neat though about the length of time that this is taking, at least for me, because I'm the lyricist as well, is that I'm writing these songs and kind of worrying, honestly, if they're going to be the same sort of impact as when I had written them originally and recorded them originally. But for better or for worse, like we're still in the middle of so much of what I'm writing about and talking about, and politically, socially, everything. So I don't know that that's a celebration per se, but it is something that it's pretty interesting just to kind of see how it's aging. And I'm really excited for people to kind of hear these songs, and not just musically, but to spend time lyrically with what we're talking about, and hopefully it can be meaningful for people. So
I got that with the 2 singles already, and I love the Hope Like an Ocean was pretty killer for me. I connected with the lyrics big time, and I don't think the world will be fixed by the time the songs get out. So people will be able to relate for sure.
Well, and that kind of brings us into like some of the stuff that I want to talk to before we go. Like, hardcore has always been like a beacon of hope in the midst of struggles, in the midst of like political unrest. Even if sometimes there's no answers that is given in the music or the lyrics, there's at least some sort of anxious ruckus that happens that brings some sort of relief. And uh Steven and I, and even Wiley, in the 3 years that we've done this, we've always have moments in places where we've had shows where we got to talk about like the hardcore scene, punk scene, and mental health, and how the two, like, they're connected in so many ways, and way more positive than negative, I would say. I know there's been some negative stuff that's happened, but it just seems like the last 2 years, with everything that's happened and everything that's going on, there seems to be a lot more. Hardcore has always kind of had that focus where it always talked about it, but it seems like the last 2 years, especially like the B-Wool album that came out, the last 2 tuning albums that dropped in the last 2 years, which were so good, Change, One Step Closer's new album, like we talked a little bit with the singer at the beginning of the year, like some of the stuff that he was talking about, mental health and some different things. Even the Turnstile album that came out, even though it's super fun and super awesome, there's some deep subjects that those guys talk about, and it's, it opens up conversation and opens up the ability to like maybe be a little bit more open with one another. And so I knew I was having you guys on, and I know some of your background and stuff, so I thought it'd be cool just to take a moment and just talk about like mental health in the hardcore scene, and how, like, at least for us, because I kind of know all of our backgrounds. I know that we're super positive and want to bring more hope in out of the outlets that the art that we bring forth. So, and Steven with the Straight Edge for Christ and the stuff that he does with suicide prevention and things like that. I just thought it'd be cool to just take a few moments and talk about that, if that's all right with you guys.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
And I know, like, even from the lyrics from Subsist and then Bears His Teeth, like some of the stuff that you're talking about. So, yeah, like, how do you now how to ask the question out after I said that little thing, like, like how to ask a question like that, like, how do you all see, I guess, do you guys see that the same thing, like right now with some of the music that's coming out? Or
yeah, no, I agree. I think that, like, when I came up in hardcore, it was like early Earth Crisis era, and Zayo at the time was kind of, as far as like preaching or speaking directly, like there was that same kind of vibe for me. And I spent a lot of time with both bands, and so hardcore right away for me. And I was a kid coming out of like barely some punk rock, but mostly like top 40 radio. So it was Trial by Fire.
Yeah.
And right away, I kind of knew that this was a place where people spoke their mind, and they spoke clearly and directly, and they could express their beliefs, but they couldn't do that without expecting to have others also speak clearly right back to them.
Right.
So your choice when you're confronted there is either to like mix it up with a bunch of crews in the pit and like to embrace violence, which is what some of the music could push you towards.
Right.
Or it's to say, like, no, there's this incredible beauty in a space where many different ideas can come together, where we can hold on to things that are common, and where we can respect one another's voices and demand that those voices are respected. And so that's why you have, like I see today, like the hardcore being a space where, like as far as I'm concerned, some of the best hardcore being made right now is by LGBTQ people and by persons of color and people who are really speaking in very direct and honest ways about their experience and calling systems to account.
Right.
And that's just, it's a refreshing, it's a catharsis, which is really helpful in regard to mental health, having a space where we can bring just whether it's our rage or our lament or our uncertainty, and we can scream it with others. And to know that, like, at least here in this 40 minutes, other people get something of where I am, even if the rest of the world is burning around us. Like, we can, in for 40 minutes in a room in a basement somewhere, I can be with my people. And it's, at least back in the day, it was like I fueled myself up in those spaces in order to go back into the world.
Right.
Yeah. So it taught me like so much of what I know about advocacy and community and supporting one another and being honest, but also being like receptive of diversity and respecting one another. Like I was a therapist because I was a hardcore kid. I'm a pastor now because I was a hardcore kid. Like, yeah. So yeah, it's fueled everything.
Yeah, I just remember like going and playing shows like at the Canton Y in Ohio, and being in a band that was full of Christians, but then there'd be a Hare Krishna band there, and then there'd be like a band like Groundwork or someone else who was definitely speaking in bringing awareness to the LGBTQ community, when back in the 90s that wasn't something that happened a whole lot, and just there being a place where all those ideas came out and nobody was pissed off at the other one. You just listened and you heard, and then you went and bought each other's records and you talked, and that compared to like normal life was just so weird. And there were so many things that I learned from those times being at, of all places, a hardcore show at a YWCA in the middle of nowhere. And it happened all the time from Ohio all the way to California to Canada, every place that we went. That's kind of how it was. And every show that any hardcore show I've ever been to, that's how it is. And it's so crazy to see things like bands like Godhead and Safe that's come out now, two killer records that's come out, and they're Krishna bands, and they're basically singing peace and everything else, and that message is just coming through. And you could put that over here with I was trying to come up with another band that kind of be in that same balance, but those two worlds collide and they're speaking the same thing, and it's just so cool to see that take place. And just the openness about well-being, like it being okay to say I'm not okay. And that message has gotten lost a lot, and now it seems like it's coming back.
It's definitely coming back. It's pretty cool. I went to a show this weekend at a local VFW. So it's still there, and it's a whole bunch of different people with different beliefs, taking care of each other, sharing, like you said, but there's no, I don't know. I feel like that's actually coming back more. So like 10 years ago, I feel like people were just beating each other up. They kind of moved on from that a little bit. And, but I feel like the music, again, being released now, and this whole thing that we've gone through has kind of brought that brotherhood and sisterhood back. And you're seeing it online, like, clear as day. It's pretty cool. And I love it. I just want to be a part of it. And I want to bring, suicide prevention, because obviously I struggled with addiction and depression, and everybody in the world has those fights. So to come together, no matter what your belief is and my belief, and we can do that together, it's pretty cool to have that happen. So I think hardcore is going to grow stronger and stronger from these bands like Be Well, and Turnstile obviously is getting all the publicity right now. But that's pretty cool. They should eat it up, because it's pretty cool stuff.
It's a good time to be alive when it comes. Yeah. It's like it's come back full circle. And I know some people are like, it's always been around, and it has, but it just seems like right now it's that hungry moment where all these great bands are popping up, and it just feels like, it feels like the early 90s. It feels like, the 80s, when
the world needs it right now.
Yeah,
that's what everybody really needs this, because what we've been going through is just something that no one's ever been through before. So the only thing we have is each other, and we got to be able to count on each other and, have a back. It's just, this is definitely what the world needs right now. And hardcore community has always been about brotherhood and sisterhood and taking care of each other like that. So, it's thriving, and it's really cool to watch it take off again. So it's good stuff.
I think that's like the favorite thing. Like my favorite thing about hardcore is just the community. And like, I kind of like tuned out for 20 years. I came back, like all my friends are still here. Everyone's like kind of getting back into things. Like you said, it's like picking back up again.
Right.
And it's just like, it's so easy now to reach out, especially with the internet and everything. And just like, I mean, it's just, I get chills. Like you said VFW hall, and I was just like, ooh, yeah. Man, I was so like, that is like a trigger word for me, because we played so many like, Optimist Club and VFW halls and like stuff like that, with no stage, hot, sweaty, everyone like falling on you. Oh, and not just played, but been to so many great shows like that. It's just such a great time, and it's just so cool that it's kind of coming back. It's exciting.
It's so is comeback. I was talking to a couple of the artists there, a couple of singers and stuff in the other bands, because everybody knows everybody, and they're like, we're just trying to show the young kids how it is, and how to do it, and it's kind of funny, some of the conversations, but it's cool. I pulled up to the place, and this is like right down the street from me, but they've been having shows like every weekend since the shows have come back. So it's cool. And I pull up and I see everyone's playing cornhole in front of the place before the setup and everything. And the next thing you know, everybody's rushing to set up because they realize it's past the opening doors. And but it is funny because it's the same people. I see some of the same people from back in the day. They're still there, so it's still alive.
If I could just make one more comment about just connecting the mental health aspect of things with hardcore. I've been a hardcore kid for ages, but the point that's always been a somewhat of a point of frustration for me is that at some point, kind of like giving voice to the need to rise up, to stand together, like it becomes sentimentality rather than action.
Yeah.
And the thing that I love the fact that, like, Stephen, what you're doing, there's others that are like saying, like, we can actually use hardcore and the community of hardcore as a point of referral to kids we can normalize mental health care right off the bat. Like, everybody's on the mental health spectrum somewhere. We're dealing with this. Guess what? It is not only okay for you to have a therapist, like, you should totally have a therapist. Like, let's make this happen. Like, you need psychopharmacological support. Like, that's not weird to take medicine and have a therapist. Like, we can do this together. And I think that, like, that is a pretty profound turn. And I love that there have been bands in the past that I listened to that were really kind of like open, like, here you buy our CD, but you should also take this, like, Food Not Bombs, and like do something with it, like,
right.
And I love that, and I want to see more of that. Like, that's where, like, if we want to see far less of the stuff that we lament and rage against right now, we actually take steps and have action behind the words and the songs that we're singing. And I think there's so much like potential for that, and it's happening, and it's super exciting.
Yeah, I see it happening, like, because some of the folks that we've had on here in the past, they've been open about, like, the breakthrough for them was going in and talking to a therapist, was meeting with someone, and they were normalizing it to, like, it's okay, like even if you're a punk kid, this is okay, it's all right to have those conversations. And and in some of my running into folks nowadays, it's like I run into kids and they tell me their stories, and they tell me that they're going to therapy, and they've been prescribed this or that, and there's almost like this little bit of shame attached to it. And I always try to be like, dude, like, no, there's no shame in that. This is a good thing that you're doing that. This is steps to health. Like, think, like, steps before this, it was misery, it was pain, it was hurt, but now you're moving towards health. Like, this is a good thing. How could you don't see this? I don't care what anybody said to you in the past. I don't care what anybody's told you that this is not a good thing. It's a good thing. I know Adam and you and I have talked about this before because I shared some stuff with you. Like here at least where I'm from, it seems like it's not a normal thing, and it's starting to change. The conversations are changing. Even both you and I both work inside some of the church world and stuff, and at least for me over here on my side of the country, at least in some of the circles I run in, it's looked down upon. And I have gone out of my way for the last 5 years at least to say, why are we looking at something that's good, that's actually helping people, that actually can be seen as miraculous, right? Like that's a gift, right? It's actually, in my opinion, it's ministry. It's something that's very helpful. And I know things have started to shift some, but I wish it was more open. Wish conversations could be more open like this, where we can talk freely and say, no, this is a good thing. This is not something to be ashamed of. So I see more and more bands step up and say things like that, or at least say, hey, this is what I've done, to kind of say, this is a good thing. So
awesome.
Yeah. I feel like
super important stuff.
We kind of like awesome. got real deep and stuff, but it was good. But we're gonna lighten it up a little bit before we go. How about this? All right, we ask this. We ask everybody this. There's two things that we ask. The first one's funny, and that is, what is your guilty pleasure? The thing that if people knew that you either watched or listened to, they would make fun of you for. What is it? And if you would like to have a rundown, the one that has the highest percentage over the entire show has been The Bachelor. There are so many people that they watch either The Bachelor or some sort of reality show that's like it. It's hilarious that has come out. So yeah, that's the bar, The Bachelor.
I don't know, Matt, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I can jump in. I'd have to say it's not The Bachelor, but Big Brother would be. Big Brother's my. And if you can get access to it, Big Brother Australia, that's the real reality gold. So I'll go the extra mile and recommend Big Brother Australia.
That's hilarious.
That's going on my list to watch for sure.
I think my real honest answer isn't even like a current thing. It's just something I still listen to and unfortunately know every word for and can hit most of the notes, although you wouldn't want to hear me do it. And it's Justin Bieber's Purpose record from 2015. It is I'm saying that right now. This is a shame-free zone.
It is.
I'm challenging all of you. I hear you judging me from a distance. It's not going to happen. Sometimes, pop needs to be respected. It shapes the way. I'm not saying it's a good record. I'm just saying it's a record that I know and I will put on and sing all the way through. So yeah, when you listen to these Bears' Teeth songs, just keep that in mind. Like maybe there's some shaping happening. Yeah.
Is there a cover coming?
oh God. I don't know if the world can handle that right
now. I think that'd take us like a year probably to
That's right.
That's awesome. All right, so here's the last question, and that is we have more questions. I've got like two. I forgot. All right, so do you guys drink coffee?
I do.
Matt?
I do.
It was a delayed answer.
No, I do.
All right, so what's your go-to coffee?
Oh, man.
This is coffee and hardcore. We got to talk coffee at least.
I get it.
It is. I'm pretty plain. I'll do a Starbucks Sumatra, but a pour over. So that's my go-to. I don't get out much to go to good coffee shops or anything anymore. So it's kind of what I make do with.
So,
I know Adam's exotic because I have seen his posts.
No, I'm just itching. I'm itching here. So I've got like 3 recommendations, and one
Awesome.
is going to be annoyingly local in that way where I'm going to describe it and you're going to say, that sounds incredible. And I'll say it is incredible. And unless you come visit me in St. Louis, you're not getting any. So I'll start with that one. And there is a place here, and it's only one place. And it's in the heart of the city. It's in a place called the Loop, which is kind of like between worlds. Like we have something here called the Del Mar Divide. It's not the official name, but there's like the wealthy, predominantly white lower half of the city. And then there is the northern half of the city where a lot of African-American people live and poverty is higher. And so racism is real in the city. But in the heart of it, there's this strip between 2 universities. And this place is called Meshuggah Cafe.
Oh.
And they're not named after the band, although I wonder that every single time I walk through the doors. But they have a local roaster do their stuff.
Wow.
And it's just, they only brew espresso, and they'll give you a full cup of it. And it's slightly frothy on top. They don't do anything it is the most glorious cup of coffee, y'all. It is just smooth and beautiful, and I love it. And that's my go-to in the city. And then there is a buddy of mine named Ryan Hammer, lives in West Chicago. And if you ever go to West Chicago, you have to go to Kindred Coffee Roasters. Kindred is a small batch roaster. They do incredibly wonderful work. The notes and the layers in their coffee are just like, it's like a beautiful, delicate web that you can really hit with every sip. So those are my 2 like serious recommendations: Kindred and Meshuggah in St. Louis. And if you come to St. Louis, I will buy you a cup of Meshuggah. I will buy it for you.
Awesome. And I'm sure both of those are online, because we will totally link to their stuff. That way people can find it, except for Starbucks.
Go to any corner in the city, anywhere, and they'll find one. So it's fine.
I'm just kidding.
That's why I hesitated when I answered it. It's a little bit of shame.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. It's a shame-free zone. I'm sorry.
No, it's my dad actually used to roast his own coffee beans. So I do come from a kind of a coffee snob family, but I just don't have the time to be too snobby these days.
Convenience is key, for sure. And it's still better than Dunkin's.
Yeah. So is there anything you guys want to like promote, put out there? Any bands you think people should check out? Like that's normally how we close things out. Like I know, we'll definitely put links to all the Subsist stuff and the pre-orders and all that, and then we'll put out the links for the Bears' Teeth singles and all that. But what else should we promote that you guys know of that we need to do?
So we would be remiss if we did not mention one of the more exciting small boutique labels that's happening right now, who are big supporters of us, and by us I mean Bears' Teeth, and that's Friend Club Records. And they're signing a ton of really like interesting, exciting bands. It's a full scope. They just intentionally signed the Ukrainian band. Wow. And are releasing a tape that's 100% of those proceeds are going to benefit Ukraine. Nice. So Friend Club Records, those guys are wonderful. If you're in a band and are looking for a solid label to release, send stuff to them. And on a side note, there's an album that I can't stop listening to, and it came out a little bit ago. But it's actually like a kind of folky record, and it's by a guy named Denison Whitmer. And Denison's been putting out records for a long time, but his American Foursquare album is honestly one of the finest records I've listened to in the past 2 years. Like it is just he's on top of his form, and it moves me deeply. I put it on, my whole family loves it, but it's a glorious record.
And listen, Adam posts stuff all the time about what he's listening to, and it never fails. Like he dropped like 10 or 20, I think it was like 10 or 15 artists it was like 2 weeks ago or something. And I went through and found them on Spotify and listened to every single one of them. And I think there was only one that I wasn't into. So when Adam speaks, you should check it out. At least for me, it's paid off. So Matt, you got anything that you wanna throw out?
Yeah. There's 2 bands that come to mind, and they're both fairly new. One is Exide. They're on a New Morality zine, and I think they just put out a 2-song like a promo CD. The other band that I just recently discovered is out of Michigan called Wounded Touch. They just put an LP out, and it's really good. It's really like really in line with like kind of the Subsist stuff, where it's that 2000s metalcore vibe. So it's just super good.
Yeah, New Morality's been dropping a lot of really awesome stuff lately too. That Si Dios Quiere 3-song is tight. Like we Ruben messaged Wiley, I think it was in January, and was it January, Steven? Like was it he was like, it was like out of nowhere. He's like, can you guys review this for us? And like, we'll send you a song. And like, yeah, it was like 2 days before we dropped the episode. But no, we did it. But I was so glad we did, because that album is just killer. So yeah, they've been dropping really good stuff lately. So.
Yeah, they're on fire.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit. And can't wait to drop this episode, and can't wait to hear this Subsist record, man. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be huge, y'all. It's going to be huge. This is Adam saying that. Matt's not talking himself up that much, although he should. It's a massive, amazing record. So good.
It's huge. So yeah, we can't wait to hear that. And then somewhere down the road, we'll hear the new Bears His Teeth stuff.
Absolutely, friends.
It'll probably drop the same time the Redline stuff does. Awesome. Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Coffee.
Well, hey, it's that time. We are going to talk coffee. And what better way to close out the show than to talk coffee? We've had some great bands. We've had some cool dudes hang out with us. And we had some great albums to review. And now we're going to review some coffee.
Yeah, what kind of coffee? What kind of coffee you got?
Well,
you got something good?
Yeah, I do got something good. I'm going to talk about a white mocha latte that I had at a coffee shop here in West Virginia. It's in Ripley, West Virginia. It's about an hour, about an hour from my house. And a small town is Ripley. And it's called Hallow Beans.
Hallow Beans.
Yes, it's a Halloween themed, year-round Halloween themed coffee shop. And it is anything that if you could imagine something scary, like the jump scare stuff around Halloween, the movies, everything, that's what's in this coffee shop. It's so amazing. They do a good job, like with their look, their feel, their graphic design and all that, which we'll put a link so you can check this stuff out. They have great coffee. They have amazing bagels. Like, you would not think that West Virginia would have good bagels, but this place has bagels because they get them from New York, and they've got it's so good. They got, I just can't explain it. They've got bagels. It's just a really good coffee shop with a funny theme that works. And I just had straight up, I didn't know what to get. So I just got their white mocha, and it was delicious. Like, I'm known to have a little bit of a sweet tooth, and it wasn't overly sweet. The mocha definitely had a kick to it. I may have got an extra shot. I don't know. But it was good. It was very, very good. My wife had something called a killer bee, which was like a honey, like a honey mocha kind of thing. And she said it was delicious and amazing. We had family with us, and they all got different stuff. And like, seriously, everybody tried something. It all was good. This place is definitely if you're in West Virginia and you're driving on I-77 and you go through Ripley, you got to stop and try Hallow Beans, because you can get coffee, and then you can go downstairs and they have an ice cream shop called I Scream Sunday. And
that's awesome.
It's a horror themed ice cream parlor. It's safe for kids. It's not too scary, but it is seriously so good. Like, unbelievable. And everything about it's good. And then if you want to buy a house in West Virginia, the people who own it have a realty company in the same building called Soul Sisters. So you can get your coffee, get some ice cream, and then, you know,
they got it going, man.
I know.
They got it going.
What a business model.
I'm about to get my car and leave.
Yeah. And I'm telling you right now,
cream, some coffee.
Houses are cheap in West Virginia. Wait,
right?
I talked to you and Wiley and hear what you guys are dealing with. And I'm like, dude, you have 3 houses here for that.
Right.
But yeah, Hallow Beans, Ripley, West Virginia. It's just excellent stuff. I even think because my father-in-law was there, and I think he just had a straight up coffee, and it was delicious. So we'll put a link for that so you guys can check them out. But yeah. So what are you bringing this? What are you bringing this episode?
So I'm gonna bring a coffee, but it's a brand that you guys have already reviewed, so it's not new to the show. But it's the brand is Grounds and Hounds, but I'm gonna bring a new flavor to your ear.
Nice.
So this flavor is called Snow Day. And it's definitely, I think it's seasonal. So you better hurry up and get some before it's gone. Because like you said, I have a sweet tooth. And if you have a sweet tooth, you definitely want to cash in on this because it's killer. Me and my wife were like, this is really good. Like just like drinking it, staring at each other, like we need to get more of this. So we stocked up, but it's a dark chocolate ginger graham cracker.
Oh, and
the beans are from Sumatra, Papua New Guinea, and Colombia. Believe the company's based out of Los Angeles. They are an awesome company because they do take a portion of their profit and they donate it to animal rescue.
Okay,
which is super killer because that's kind of like right up our alley.
Yeah,
you know, but it's really good. It's very, very sweet. But not over the top where you're like, this is a straight up dessert. It is definitely like a winter coffee. Nice. Cold day. This is perfect. Cause that graham cracker gets me. Like anything graham cracker, I'm in. Like it's just one of those tastes that definitely that cinnamon taste is, you know, is so good. But yeah, this specific blend is something great. I think everybody would like it if you like that sweet dessert taste. Great brand. I think what they're doing is awesome. The animal rescue. And I know you guys have touched base on that, and I know Wiley, that hits Wiley's heart as well.
Right.
So yeah, it's killer, and I'm sure I know it's seasonal because it's got on the front of the package, it's got people like playing in snow, and it's got some cool artwork. So it's gonna be gone soon. So you better hurry up and order some now.
Right.
You know?
So as soon as you listen to this episode, you need to go to the Grounds and Hounds website and order it because like by the time April hits, it might be gone.
I mean, then grab whatever's coming next because again, the coffee in general, the brand is really good. They do a great job with everything I've ever had from them. So it's not overly expensive either. It's pretty reasonable. Right. So it definitely, if you put that link up, I think people, hop on there, see what you can do and grab some of it for sure.
Definitely. Which reminds me, like, just the subject matter of who the coffee company supports. There's a compilation coming out.
Yes.
In the near future. And, has any of the graphics for that dropped yet? Are we allowed to talk about that right now?
We could talk about it. I know the graphics haven't dropped yet. I don't think.
Has any of the press release dropped for it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, we better not say anything.
It's pretty stacked. That's all I can say. It's pretty stacked
comp. It's a stacked comp that's going to go to a rescue for dogs. So you might even know some idea after I said that, but but yeah. So you gotta check that out as well. All right, cool. Yeah. Hey, Fresh Pots. We just dropped some good coffee for you to check out. Good stuff.
Fresh Pots.
Damn good coffee and hot.
Hey, it's the end of the show. We're about ready to say goodbye. Yeah. What an episode, right?
That was awesome. I mean, talking to those guys, great stuff. A lot of new releases coming out.
Yeah.
So this is going to give you like a taste. and then these guys are all working on new stuff pretty much. So yeah, it's cool. It definitely was a great episode.
Yeah, 2022 is looking like a crazy year for hardcore in general.
Yeah. Coffee and hardcore looks like it's got some stuff coming too. So
yeah, I like want to share like what we've got coming up for the next. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, like 5 episodes.
Right.
Like, to give you a clue, like I'm even nervous. I'm like nervous about the next 5 episodes. Like,
right.
My mind is exploding by some of the guests that we've got coming up. And one, like, I don't even know, like there's one coming up in the summer that I don't know if I'm going to be able to contain myself, because I remember as a young lad traveling from my humble abode in West Virginia as a kid and hopping in a vehicle that should not drive more than a half hour away and driving all the way to DC to see a certain band that we are going to be interviewing later in these episodes. And like, I'm like, when I found out, I was like, are you kidding me? Like I tried, I even wrote back and said, huh? Like, are you serious? So, yeah, the next few episodes is going to be crazy. Wiley's going to come back and hang out with us and jump on some stuff with us as well. He's finally off baby hiatus, I think.
Yeah,
you never really leave baby hiatus.
No,
it's there forever. But you know what I mean. He's going to be able to hang out some. So he's coming back. I do want to say this. Thank you guys so much for, man, we're just 3 episodes in and you have been so awesome to hang out with us, to like what's happening, to even share this podcast on social media with your friends and stuff. And so I want to ask, if you haven't done so already, please, you can follow us now on Spotify and actually rate us. And I just want you, please, to rate us. Give us a 4 or a 5. If you don't want to give us a 4 or 5, then don't rate us at all. Right.
Yeah.
Just leave it alone.
Mick said 5, not 4. He said 5.
Sorry. Yeah. So help us out with that. That just puts us, higher up the chain, puts us in front of more folks so they can hear stuff like we're talking. Cause and the same thing goes for iTunes, like help us out there, rate us, share us. And here's the deal. The whole reason why we started Coffee and Hardcore wasn't for anything with us. We just thought it would be cool to talk about bands that one, we like, and 2, that are like newer and up and coming. And we think like this year, especially, we've had some great killer bands that are out right now that's definitely making an influence. And so we want to find more bands, like we want to bring up more bands like Worth It and Godhead and what was Selfless, like those guys. Like we're not just trying to find new stuff. This is stuff that we actually like Big Laugh, like trying to get that stuff out to you so you can hear it. It's new stuff. And of course we're going to talk old school stuff because that's where we all came from, right? Like,
oh yeah,
we're old school 90s hardcore kids that get to listen to this stuff now. So yeah, just so stoked that you guys have been a part of that. So
it's been awesome being a part of it. So I know it's been killer to fill in for Wiley. And I think I'm going to stick around for a little while. So,
you have to, because Wiley, if you don't know, Wiley and I have a nickname for you. If you didn't know,
no, I don't.
We call you the Hardcore Encyclopedia.
Oh boy.
Because it's like, it doesn't matter who the band is. It's like if Wiley or I mention it, I listened to those guys. I caught them 2 years ago, or I found them I'm like, what? I thought I found something new, and you're like, I already know about it. So yeah,
that's all right. A guy at work was saying that same thing the other day. And I'm like, no, I'm sure you probably listen to stuff I don't know. But yeah, I love music. It's definitely one of my things, and coffee's right up there too. So it's a perfect blend for me.
Right.
And and no one better to do it with than you guys. So
right. You fit right in.
Stuff.
You're part of the family. You can't leave now.
It's the same guy said that he goes, he was listening to the show and Contention came on. He's like, I think my ears fell off. I'm like, oh man.
That's awesome. So yeah, you're stuck with us now.
You
can't leave.
No leaving.
No leaving now. So yeah, hey, thanks for hanging out with us, guys. And wow, this has been episode 3. You're not going to believe what's coming up next. Episode 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and beyond. It's crazy.
Yeah. We'll catch you guys on the other side.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in.
Hold on to your butts.